Thanks to the Inside Texas guys, we have an awesome guest today. Quandre stops by the show, and we have some really interesting conversation. We talk Quandre's recruiting between Alabama and Texas doing some strange things during his offer, what the combine and the draft was like for him, how he found success in the NFL after moving from Detroit to Seattle, and how money can change things for people, just to name a few. Before the show, Last Stand Hats is offering you 10% off your hat purchase if you use promo code TexasHomer, all caps, on laststandhats.com, all fully licensed by the University of Texas. Inside Texas set up this conversation to bring fans a unique glimpse into the world of our former players and see for ourselves what things are like behind the scenes. Make sure to subscribe to Inside Texas. You'll be happy that you did. As always, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. It alerts you every single time I drop a new video, so I can keep bringing you bigger and better Texas Longhorns content. Without further ado, let's get into it. Quandre, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate your time. And once again, shout out Inside Texas for setting this up. So, you ready to talk Longhorns, and then we'll go into your NFL life?
No doubt. Appreciate you guys having me, man. It's good always talking to you guys and catching up on Longhorn football.
So let's start at the foundation. You grew up in Angleton, Texas, a small town south of Houston. I don't need the typical spiel on Angleton. What do you remember from your childhood, like on some human stuff? Like, what was your actual experience growing up there?
I mean, small town. So for me, I'm a small town kid. I mean, I'm pretty country, you know what I mean? So grew up riding horses in the rodeo arena, going to rodeos, roping calves and things like that. So for me, I was a pretty country kid. So for me, it was never a big deal about getting my hands dirty or going to do any of those different things. So, I mean, it was dope. I mean, I grew up in probably not the best neighborhood in Angleton. We kind of grew up where it was a lot of shootings, a lot of drugs, a lot of different things over there. But I think that's kind of what made me, because now I'm able to see both sides. You know what I mean? I was able to relate to my teammates that lived in the hood, and I was able to relate to the kids that lived in the suburbs, because when my brother got to the league, we moved to the suburbs. So for me, it was kind of like I can relate to both, because I know what it is to be in the hood. I know what it is to be in the suburbs now. And I think West Live Oak was my street that I grew up on. I think that's what made me into who I am, because it was just like a bunch of kids, you know what I mean? It was a bunch of kids that we all grew up together. We all played football. We all played basketball. We all fought each other. We all stole bikes and rode bikes all around town. So, I mean, for me, it's just normal small town living, but it definitely made me who I am. And I mean, I'll never forget those memories. And heck, I always say I wish I could go back and kind of do those things again, because it was just super fun, super dope. Didn't have to pay no bills and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it with Angleton, man. Small town, everybody knows everybody, and everybody knew my mom. So when I did get in trouble, she knew ASAP.
Was your mom the matriarch, like the central figure of the family?
Yeah, no doubt. My mom's central figure. She ran the house. My stepdad, shoot, I call him my real dad, because that's the only dad I've known. But me and him super duper close. But he'll even tell you, like, my mom runs the house. I mean, she was the disciplinarian. She was the one that stayed on you about grades. She stayed on you about cleaning the house, cleaning your room. She was the one that used to give us whoopings, things like that. And my stepdad was just the cool, laid back guy. Like, he's still the same way, but he's the one that, took his time when he got out of work to throw me the football in the yard. Or he was the one that take me out to the country to ride horses and things like that, take me to football practice. So it was a good mixture for me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say I came from a one-parent house, because I came from a two-parent household, because my stepdad took that role as my father. So I would be lying to say if it was a one-parent household. But it was dope. Like I say, my mom, she was a big-time athlete when she was in high school. So I think that's where me and my brother got the genetics from. It's weird, because neither one of our dads were athletic. And shoot, my mom was a freaking super athlete, and that's where we got it from.
She played basketball?
Yeah, she played basketball. So way, way, way back then when Angleton girls, my mom that went to state back to back. I can't remember the years. Went to state back to back, and they ended up winning the state championship one year. So she was, I think, the second highest score on that team, and everybody always talk about like, yeah, your mom did it way before you and your brother. Your mom was the athlete around here, blah blah. So I heard that growing up all the time, and most of the time, I mean, everybody was just like, "Oh, that's Jan's son, that's Jan baby boy, or that's Jan oldest son," and it was just like that's what we was known as in Angleton. We wasn't known as like Quentin and Quandre, like those Jan's boys over there. So I mean, you could say that small town living, everybody knew her, and that's how they knew us.
And then when does your brother head off to Texas? He's how much older than you?
He's 13 and a half years old.
13 and a half years. Okay,
So
cool.
I probably was like 5 when he left. And I remember when he left, it was like the saddest day of my life. Like I remember driving to Austin with all his stuff in the back. And I remember the back of Jester. We go in and park in the back of Jester. We unload this stuff and like get his dorm room ready. And I can tell you, I literally cried from Jester dorms all the way like to Columbus. I cried all the way from Austin to Columbus because it was just like my best friend was leaving. Like that's who I literally rode around town with all day in my mom's little Toyota Corolla, listening to music. And I remember my brother would take me to like high school fights and stuff like that. Like I was just like a little 5-year old, 4-year old out there at these fights and stuff, like hanging out. And uh, it was just dope for me because I mean, that was for me at a young age, he was like my role model at 4 or 5 because it's like that's your older brother. Like, that's who you want to be like. And I remember him playing football at Angleton and like spatting his cleats. And then when I got in little league, my dad had to spat my cleats and stuff like that. So I mean, when he left, I mean, it was hard for me for sure.
It's always awesome to hear you talk about your brother, the love you have for him, because it could have easily been the other way, like get this little 5-year-old away from me due to the age difference, but he brought you in. So you go through all the little league and middle school ball, and everyone knows who your brother is. So you got to play through that as well. You're all over the place in high school because you're an athlete in a small town. So you're playing quarterback. And did you play corner or safety in high school?
Safety, corner, kick return, punt return. I mean, I played everything in high school. I was a holder, I was a punter, like I was doing everything.
Yeah, like whenever I watch your NFL tape with your interceptions, that punt return background comes back real quick, man. And that's cool. Like looking at your highly developed NFL game, you can go back through your career and see, like, okay, he developed this skill here and this skill here. So when you're thinking back on high school, was it a fun time for you? Was it a stressful time? What are your memories of high school football?
I mean, I think it was fun for me because I mean, like I said, small town, you got to think me and all those guys that are on my football team, we've been playing football together since we were 7 years old, 6 years old. So that chemistry of no matter that I'm the youngest, really, I'm the youngest one out there. No matter that I'm a freshman in high school, the 10th, 11th, 12th grader, I remember watching those guys play in little league games before me, and then I remember those guys watching me play in little league games, when they don't wasn't playing. So I mean, just the chemistry that we had at Angleton was like unreal. You know what I mean? We Angleton had been down for a while in football. Like we wasn't winning as many games. Even my freshman year, I think we went like 3-7 or something like that. And then it was just dope how we knew that was a turning point. Once that senior class left, '08 class, that was DJ Monroe's senior year. And once they class left, and it wasn't no disrespect to those guys, but like once that class left, we was just like, all right, it's our turn to take over. Like this is what we gonna do. You know what I mean? Like we want to win. Our off seasons was different. You know what I mean? Our summer conditioning was different. So like we knew that we wanted to make a change, and it didn't happen overnight. Don't get me wrong. My sophomore year, we started 0-2, and then Hurricane came through. We had to like reschedule a game, and we played Waller, and that was the turning point. Boom, and we just started winning and winning and winning, and that just kept going. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think it was just the chemistry of, the 2009 class, 2010, 2011 class. We come in and it's just like we all on the same page. But it was fun for me, you know what I mean? It was like these are my best friends growing up, and I get to play in a football game with them every Friday. I get to go to practice with them after school, after we've been running around the halls, not being in class all day. And we go out and we playing football after school, talking about stuff. And, in high school, it's like those practices are long as heck. So you got to figure out something to talk about when you get in a break. And it's hot, but I mean, it was just dope. You know what I mean? Just those memories to even think about. Like the other day, they was on Facebook talking about this hit I had against Texas City. And it was just like a bunch of my former teammates, and they just talk about it. And like I get on there and tell them like best hit of my career by far. And I just tell them like I miss y'all. And then they all just hit back like miss you too, bro. Keep putting on for us. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just the love that's there, that's been there, and that's still there. So high school was fun. You know what I mean? I remember getting my first offer, like the first day you can get official offers. I remember getting an offer from Baylor and U of H. And it was just like they called me to the counselor office and I'm like, dang, what I do? I done got in trouble or something. And they like, you got two official offers, paid for. You can go to either one of these schools. It's just like that's when it really started coming into like, dang, it's real. Like I always dreamed about going to college to play ball, and shit, I'm gonna get that chance to do it. You know what I mean? So um, it was just surreal, surreal feeling. And we went out, and that was my junior year. We went out. I remember going to the locker room and showing all my teammates, like, look, bro, I got my first offer. Like, I got my first two offers. And they hyped. And we had a game that night against Dickinson. And Dickinson had beat us 2 years in a row. And we were like, man, we got to beat these boys. We opened up a brand new stadium, and we went out and just killed them. And like that season was just like the most memorable season of my life. Like we started off the season 9-0. We had already won district and everything. So we were like number two in the state. Everybody predicting us to win the state championship. And it didn't happen like it was supposed to. I mean, we lost in the third round, but that's the hardest loss of my life, honestly. Like because I feel like I let my town down, I let my people down. But I mean, that was just memorable moments that I'll never forget.
It's always even more than football itself. It's the camaraderie, it's that friendship. But now things are getting a little more serious because you're starting to pick up offers. It's not just pure fun anymore. We got to start thinking business. Yep. And what the future holds. The game becomes a little bit more real. You know, your brother goes off to Texas. He's an all star at Texas, beloved at Texas. So in your head, are you like, I'm going to Texas for sure? Or did you say, hey, I'm going to give this process a fair shake and I'm going to look at those who look at me? And then we're going to get into the Texas talk on what took so long for them to pull the trigger on your offer.
Um, I would say I was more open than a lot of people thought. Um, I think I made it clear in the beginning, like, hey, when I go to college, I don't want to play offense. Like, I want to play DB. That's what I want to do. I think I don't want to play running back, so don't ask me to play running back. I don't want to play slot receiver. Like, no, you know what I mean? So I made it clear, like, yo, I want to play defense. This is what it's gonna be. So everybody that offered me, like, yo, like, you offer me as a DB because I'm not coming in to play offense, and people were cool with that. And like I say, I was a lot more open than people think. I remember telling my mom like I wanted to go to Oregon, I wanted to go to Alabama. For a point before Urban Meyer left Florida, it was like Florida was number one on my mind. Like I'm going to Florida, like that's where I want to be. You know what I mean? And I remember everybody talking about like Arizona State because they party up there. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go there. That's where I need to go. You know what I mean? USC was one of the ones because it was in LA and it was closer to my brother because he was in San Diego. So I'm like, okay, I can drive back and forth to see my brother. I think that'd be cool. But I was a lot more open than people thought.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. These are legit opportunities that can alter life trajectories. Hear everybody out and take every meeting. So, out of your major schools, the big names you were really considering, did you just want to go to Oregon because they had the coolest gear ever during that time period?
No, I actually like Oregon because I used to play with Oregon on NCAA
Yeah,
football.
yep.
Dennis Dixon was one of my favorite players. So I'm like, bro, he balling there. I'm like, I can go there. I can wear the cool uniforms. And everybody was talking about how loud their stadium was. They were winning a little bit. And it was like, this the new thing. You know what I mean? They got the green and all that different. I'm like, man, this could be different. Like I can go mark my own legacy at Oregon.
Oregon was awesome around that period, man. They're all about speed and their jerseys. They had a really unique and like defined culture and identity. So I can't blame you, man. So then Alabama comes into the picture and gives you an offer after beating Texas. What was the process of that Bama offer? Do you go camp there or do they just offer you first? What's the recruiting process like over there?
So the crazy thing is with Bama, so crazy thing it is so weird to me, like how things happen. So Bo Davis was my recruiting coach at Bama, right? So Bo was my recruiting coach, and then we'll get into Bo in a little bit. But Bo was my recruiting coach, and Bo would call, and he's had the same nickname for me for the last what 13 years. He'd be like, Lil Woo, Lil Woo. So he'd call me like, hey, bro, like we want you to come out here, like we want you to come camp. We offering you already, like Coach Saban. I mean, according to Bo and Coach Saban, that's what they told me. They was like, hey, like we got you number 1 and 2 on our board. Like we think you that good of a player. Like we think you that good of a player. We really want you to come here and we really want you to be a part of this. You know what I mean? And of course, they had beat Texas. Like, man, we win national championships. You know what I mean? You can be a part of that. And so in my mind, I'm like, dang, like they got me at the top of their board like that. Like that's cool as shit. You know what I mean? And they wanted me to come out to a camp. They're like, you don't got to come work out. Like we just want you to come out here, see the facility, be around the guys, like just learn about Tuscaloosa. You know what I mean? We know you ain't never been here before. And I was like, I'm thinking like, heck yeah. And they was like, yeah, just come to the camp. And then as time went by, like people don't know, I play basketball all the time in the summer. So I was big on AAU basketball. So I never got to go to a camp, but they still was like recruiting me like crazy. Like, even though I didn't go to the camp, they were still like, we want you here, we want you here. But a lot of people don't know is, so I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. When after I committed to Texas, I'm solid to Texas. Texas is 5-7. Um, Bo is still calling. Bo and Nick Saban still calling. Like, hey, bro, you come out here and win. Like, you committed out there, come out here and win. And I'm like, dang, like, they ain't lying. Remember, all those coaches leave Texas. All of Coach Akina left. They got a whole new staff. And um, I just remember I was at the Under Armour game, and Major is calling me like Applewhite is calling me like, hey, like you still coming here? Like I hear you talking to Bama. I hear you thinking about because I was supposed to go to school early. I was going to Texas early. I'm like, hey, like I mean, I'm talking to Bama. Like I might take a visit there, bro. Like I might have to see. I mean, all my coaches leaving. I don't know these coaches that's coming in. And me and Major super close. My brother's college roommate. For anybody that didn't know that, and so I've been around Major my whole life. And so it's just like so Bo calls me back and Bo like, hey, stay committed to Texas. I'm about to go to Texas and be the D-line coach out there. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I hang up and the rest is history. Like I end up at Texas. But like me and Bo like this and still like this to this day. And it's crazy to think about that. Like I was that close to going to even take a visit to Bama when I had been committed to Texas. But you had Clinton Dix and you had Trey DePriest and you had Bradley Selby, all those guys committed to Bama. They all on my Under Armour team. And they all trying to recruit me to Bama. Like, bro, come on, bro, come be a part of the squad, blah, blah. And I think they ended up with like the #1 recruiting class that year or something crazy like that.
That's a tough pitch to turn down, man. But Bo Davis works his magic at the last second to come over and help Mack at Texas, and that ultimately secures you to Texas. But going right back before your commitment, what was going on with your Texas offer? I've heard they were doing strange stuff and playing games, and you're cool with all them because you grew up in the program. So what was going on there, man?
So I remember me and Jackson Shipley have been close. I mean, it's kind of I mean, I wouldn't say it's destined, but like you got to think of like, okay, it's only a few of us that have brothers that go to Texas, have successful careers, and then they have little brothers. So, what are the chances me and Jackson are in the same class? His brother, one of the greatest receivers in Texas history. My brother's one of the best corners in Texas history. So it's just like, what are the chances that both of us are going to be in the same class? We're going to be getting recruited at the same time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we friended each other like on Facebook. We started chopping it up and we were talking. And I remember like, he was like, yeah, bro, we'll finally get to meet like at the Texas Junior Day. I'm like, yeah, bro, that'd be dope. Like, you know what I mean? We get to talk, chop it up, you know what I mean? And I remember him hitting me. He was like, hey, Q, like, I got my junior day. I'll be there so and so. I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna hit me, you know what I mean, later this week. And I remember like waiting, and then Major hit me up. He's like, hey, we invite you to the second junior day. I'm just like, all right, cool. Like, well, I ain't gonna say like Ship going to the first, you know. So I text Ship. I'm like, hey, they got me coming to the second junior day. I don't know if it's too many people, you know what I mean? I don't know what they're doing. And at this time, I'm ranked like top 5 player in the state. So I'm just like, it ain't nothing. Like whatever. Like I just go. So I remember Ship getting his offer, committing. You know, that's when guys got their offer at junior day. They were committing on the spot. So Ship committed. So I'm like, yeah, like that's dope. We're gonna be teammates, bro. So I remember my junior day was like 2 weeks later or something. And we go down there and, you know, like see Major, see Coach Akina, see Mack, see Mad Dog, see all the people that I grew up around that I know, you know what I mean? So like for me, it's like a homecoming almost. Dang, they seeing me as a growing up, you know what I mean? And I remember as the day going, like they kind of standoffish a little bit. It's like, damn, like y'all been knowing me longer than these other people. Like I figured y'all would give me a little bit more attention. I mean, I'm the highest rated player here. Like, so I'm feel like I should be getting, you know what I mean? And then I remember as the days winding down, they was just like, there's like, okay, Quandre, your turn to go in Coach Brown's office and he's gonna talk to you. So Ship had told me like that's how he got offered. You go to Coach Brown's office, they offer you, blah, blah. So we get in the office, they showing us like the national championship rings, they showing us like VY's Heisman. I mean, not VY's Heisman, Ricky's Heisman, showing us the national championship trophy that he had in the office. And we start talking, we sit down, and Coach Brown do his usual spiel. And he was just like, well, we're not going to offer you today. We want to take some time to look and continue evaluating guys around the league, around the state. What do they say? It's like, we don't want we still really think we want you, but we're just not ready to offer. Like, it's kind of like, it's me, it's not you. You know what I mean? We're kind of one of them. I'm just like, all right, like, okay. It's like, yeah, we're looking for 6'1" corners and bigger DBs, blah, blah. And this the philosophy we're going to. And then they were just like, boom. Well, if you do come here, you can't be like your brother, skipping class, not going to class. We can't find you. It's not going to be any of that. We just let you know that now. I'm just like, first of all, just because that's my brother, that don't mean I'm doing the same things he did. But like, if he was so bad, why the hell y'all ain't kick him out of school? Because he was a great player. So you let that shit slide. So don't do it on me. You know what I mean? And I remember just being pissed off. Like, I was pissed off instantly. And we go back downstairs, and Coach Akina is talking to me, and he's trying to give me his number. And I'm like, I don't even want his number. Like, I remember, and my mom was like, get his number. And like, I ended up getting his number. And I remember Major coming in, and Major was like, they didn't offer you, huh? And I'm like, nah. He was like, this just typical Major. Like, if people know Major, he's like, it's fucking bullshit. Like, he was like, you're one of the best players in the state. You're the best player in Houston area. And we're not going to offer you because they talk about they don't know where to play you. You're not tall enough. What is he going to play? Like, and so he's going in and like, he's pissed. So he was like, don't worry, I'm working on it. So I remember getting in the car, freaking Rivals, ESPN, all those guys hit me up, Jerry Hamilton, all those guys hit me up. And I just hit everybody back. And I'm just like, hey, I won't be doing interviews until Friday. Like, it's not a good month. I didn't want to say nothing that I was going to regret, you know what I mean? So I just I remember I didn't talk to my mom and my dad all the way home. Like, sat in the back seat and just laid there, pissed off. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna show their ass. So like that's when, like I was setting up visits to Bama, TCU. Uh, I was talking to USC, but my brother was like, nah, I'm not gonna let you go there. So he wouldn't let me go there. And then of course A&M and all those schools, but I was never gonna go to A&M. Remember Oklahoma was recruiting hard and they was just like, bro, we want you to come in and play DB, but we want you to also play slot receiver and wildcat quarterback and return punts and kicks. And I'm just like, bro, I can't do all that. Like, hell, I'm gonna do all that in college. Like, it's different.
You're a whole team.
Yeah. So I'm just like, nah. So I remember going back and my high school coach, he's pissed. He's like, they don't offer you? Like, what? Blah, blah. He's going in. He's like, F them, boy. We don't need them. We don't need them. We're gonna show their ass. I'm just like, yeah, you right. So like that fueled my whole going into my senior year. That fueled my whole fire. Like I'm gonna show their ass. Then, I mean, as the weeks go by, Major's calling, Coach Akina, he's calling, and they know I'm pissed. You know what I mean? So they trying to call, and then I remember Mack called and it was like, well, what happened was honestly, I told me and my brother always talk about this, but so what they tried to do with me really was have me gray shirt. They're like, oh, we're gonna have him gray shirt and then bring him in. And then I was like, nah, I got full scholarships everywhere else. Like, I ain't gray shirt. So then what they tried to do was like, oh, how about we just have your brother pay for a semester of school because he can afford it. Like let him pay for a semester of school and you come in like that. And mama, I'm like, excuse my language. I'm like, fuck no. Like, my brother ain't paying when I got a full scholarship. Like, no. So they start hitting my brother up and trying to get him. He's like, no, like, we ain't doing that. So they came back like a month later or so and then like offered a full scholarship. And I ended up committing. Mostly I committed at that point because like my mom, she wanted to be close to home. My brother was just like, it would be dope if you go to Texas and like you wore number 6 and you played corner and you ball like that legacy, blah. So like a lot of that was that talk that got me to commit there. Cause I didn't want to commit, honestly. Like I really was like, I'm going to Bama. Like I'm really gonna go to Bama. Like I'm gonna go and if we play Texas, we gonna smoke them. Like that's what I was thinking. And I remember end up committing and like my family was just happy because it's like, well, we can still come to games and that whole deal. So I mean, I think that was the cool part. My brother had a condo in Austin, so on his bye weeks he could come down, I could hang out with him. He was like, well, you can stay in my condo when you move out of the dorm. So it was just like that, a family thing. So I remember end up committing, but I was pissed. And who I blame, and I tell you this, I blame Mack Brown and I blame Muschamp. It's just like you let Muschamp come in and tell you about these 6'1" corners, all this other stuff, talking about height and size, and that shit don't matter. And like for me, I held that grudge all the way through college. I still hold that grudge. Like I hold that grudge. It's just a chip on my shoulder where it's just like, yo, y'all tried to play me. Like everybody's sibling that's came through Texas, they got an offer. Like they got an offer off first rip. Like you go down the line and you go look at everybody's brothers, little brothers that came in after them. They all got offers on the first what's the name? You know what I mean? So like for me, I felt disrespected and I still feel disrespected. But it's just like for me, I don't think Coach Brown and me can ever heal that. Like that never heal. Like I always hold that against him. And I love him, don't get me wrong, but I always hold that against him. And he knows that, I think, because like we would get into it a little bit in college and it was just like, bro, I don't care. Like I came in, I balled as a freshman. You ain't got no choice but to play me now. So You know, what I mean, I'm here now, and that was their fault.
What do you think the goal was? Because you're right. You see Case and Jackson get offers and they're ranked lower. ESPN had you as the number one corner coming out of high school. And your brother was running wild during this period. Do you think they were trying to mess with you because of your brother's antics? Like I really don't see the benefit in them trying to mess around with you. So like what are they doing?
I think it was a mixture. I think it was my brother, the stuff he did in college, like all that stuff, and then me not being tall enough, like not being the prototypical DB they was looking for. And I think that they were trying to use my brother to pay for school when they can just get an extra scholarship and get after somebody else.
Yeah, not cool, but I'm glad you made it, brother, even though it was a little weird under Mac for you. So you must have been ready for the Charlie Strong hire because you're looking for a new opportunity, a new understanding.
Yeah, no doubt. I was excited when Charlie came in. It was like for me, it was like, okay, I've been knowing Coach Brown since I was younger. Like I felt like they disrespected me, and I felt like, okay, they tried to make up for it in every way possible. But for me, I'm one of those guys like, nah, bro, you're not gonna kiss ass now because I'm here balling and doing all that. So it's like, all right, cool. Let's see what a change do. And I mean, when Coach Strong came in, it was like a breath of fresh air for me because it was like, these are my guys. Like these my type of guys. Like they keep it up front with you. They tell you the truth. I mean, they work you, but you're gonna have fun doing it. You know what I mean? And it was just like for me going into my senior year, I needed that because I think that's what catapulted me into when I got in the NFL was like, okay, I know how to work. You know what I mean? I know how to work. Um, these my type of coaches, and they taught me so much about football my senior year.
That 2015 class was a solid class, our last first round pick, too. Then you see guys like Ominahu and Deshaun and all them that came after. So Charlie's record wasn't great, but his guys were. So when you're looking back on all the lows from that period of Texas football, where we couldn't find a quarterback, shocking losses, major coaching changes, it was just a wild period. As a player, what does it feel like to be in that awkward situation where Texas has been winning for a while, but now we're in a down period almost out of nowhere? Are you consciously aware of that as a player? Like, I want to turn this around? Are you just as confused as everybody else?
I think for me it was different than I would say for me and Ship, it was different for us than it was for others. Because that's like for us, all we know is Texas winning. You know what I mean? That's all we know. That's what we've grown up around. I mean, I used to go to practices. Ship used to go to practices. I mean, we were at games. So like for us, all we knew is winning. You know what I mean? 10-win season. That's all Coach Brown did when he was there. So for us, that's all we knew. So when we get there and we not getting that, we like, bro, what is it? Like, what is it? And I remember the famous interview that I had. It was just like, I mean, we need more dogs. Like, we don't have those guys as dogs. And I truly believe that. I feel like we were recruiting too much off rivals and off ESPN, and we wasn't going to go get the guys that Texas was accustomed to getting. You know, what I mean, I know back in '05 when they went in the national championship, they kicking doors in. You know, what I mean, they doing all type of wild shit. They getting in fights on Sixth Street, all that stuff. You know, what I mean, and I hear it all the time because Tim Crowder is my trainer, so I hear all the crazy stuff that they do back in the day. I just feel like,
Yeah, Nino's Corner is another Texas Longhorn YouTuber, Nick Battle, and he was the RA for those guys during the championship days, and he has a lot of good stories too. Basically, when we were winning, you just had to keep them as controlled as you could.
yeah, bro, it's crazy. And it's just like, I think that burned Coach Brown, where it was just like he wanted to go recruit good football players that were also great people that wasn't going to get in trouble. But in all honesty, and all the great teams I've been on, the good teams I've been on, and I've been on a couple here in Seattle, it's just like, you got to have a few of those knuckleheads on your team where it's like, these guys, they might get in trouble, but like, hey, that's them. Let reel them back in Sunday, let them go play. You know what I mean? So I think, you know what I mean, we got away from that. We got away from like recruiting the best athlete that like maybe he had some grade problems or maybe he got in trouble a little bit. He's a little head case, but we're gonna bring him to college. We're gonna reel him in. You know, he might get away a little bit, reel him back in. You know what I mean? I just think they got away from that. and you didn't recruit the best players. They were going to recruit good players with great character. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with me. Like, I felt like for me, I had both. You know, I felt like I was a great high school player, and I had good character. I wasn't the best person in high school. I mean, I
Who
guarantee.
was?
Right. I guarantee you go ask counselors and principals. I was in the office all the time getting in trouble, but it was like they would get me out of that. You know what I mean? So it's just like you can have those guys that's like great character guys, that's good players, but you can't have your whole team like that.
For me, it's like accept the challenge as a coach. Not every kid is going to be a breeze. That's where good coaching can help a kid. There's always a few recruits on the national scene that can be knuckleheads, and people will want to back off their recruiting. But I'm not down with throwing away 17-year-olds like that. Help guide them, let them mature. You never know what situation someone's coming from. Also, most people weren't upstanding members of society at 17.
Right. Bro, it's crazy because my family to this day, my family still calls me bad boy. Cause all I did whatever I wanted to do. I said whatever I wanted to say. And it was just like that's who I was. Like you either accept me for who I am or you don't. You know what I mean? My grandma literally raised me like that. Like do say and do what you want. Like if that's your feelings, then you do that. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't have any problem with anybody saying or doing what they want. You know what I mean? But you gotta have a limit and know, what you can and can't do to a certain extent.
Yeah, of course, there's limits to that, man. But having a little edge on the squad can help in a physically aggressive game. You're not going to get the DBU Texas days from a bunch of just really nice guys.
No, you don't get the man. My brother, like you say, my brother was a freaking not going to class. He wasn't doing any of that stuff. So like you got Huff, you got Mike G, said G. I know all them guys. All them guys wasn't like I'm not saying they bad people, but they also was out doing their thing, you know what I mean? And all that other stuff. So it's just like, don't get away from who you are and what helped you get here. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thing.
We got to see on this year's squad who develops that mentality. Looking back at your time at Texas, what is a moment that will always stick out to you?
I mean, I think the A&M game will always be a classic for me. You know what I mean? I just remember being a freaking 18-year-old kid lining up in the last rivalry game. And it's just like, bro, like, I've been coming to this game my whole life. You know what I mean? Like, I've literally been coming here. It is at Kyle Field. So another thing I didn't mention about Angleton, half of Angleton is Texas fans, half of Angleton is Texas A&M fans. So when I was coming out of high school, half of Angleton was happy I committed to Texas. The other half was like, you should have went to A&M. You should have went to A&M. And a lot of my graduating class went to A&M. So they all gonna be at the game. I'm like, dang, this is gonna be crazy. Like I'm gonna be playing in front of like my high school classmates. Like that's and I just remember like going out there and we like, bro, we gotta win this game. We gotta win this game. Because I think, yeah, we had to win it. We might have had 6 wins already, but it was like we want to go to a good bowl game. They didn't go to a bowl game the year before. So we like, man, let's go out here and let's play. And I just remember going out there and it was so loud, bro, at Kyle Field. I literally had a headache the whole first quarter. I came to the sideline and was like, hey, I need some Advil or something. Like, bro, I got a headache out of this world. And they're like, did you hit anybody? I'm like, bro, I haven't made contact with anybody. I'm like, it's just loud as hell in here. And they gave me that and it kind of calmed me down. And after that, we started freaking going crazy, like interceptions, pass breakups, punt returns, and all type of stuff. And it was just like one of those moments you would never forget because, like, as of now, that's the last time we're gonna play A&M in football unless it's a bowl game. And they always find a way to get around that, not to get us in a bowl game and match us up. So, I got memories for a lifetime with that.
Dude, thank God we won that game. Can you imagine what we'd have to deal with from A&M if they won that game?
Bro, the crazy thing is, I remember telling A&M DB coach, like, Coach, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll never go to A&M. I was like, I can't see me run out the tunnel in that maroon. I was like, that's just not me. I'm like, I grew up to hate A&M my whole life just because my brother played at Texas. So I'm like, I'm sorry, coach. Like, I appreciate the offer and all that, but I could never play that. And it was Van Malone. I'll never forget it. And I was like, Coach Malone, I respect you, bro, but I don't think I could ever play there.
All right, so you wrap up your senior year and it's combine time. And the combine fascinates me because it's such a bizarre process. And body is far easier to evaluate than someone's mind. So I see why recruiters miss there. But what's it like to have to constantly justify yourself to all these teams?
Yeah, that's my thing, bro. Like, I remember telling people for the combine, I'm like, look, I'm not the tallest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest. I'm like, but I'm a ball player. Like, you put me on the field, I'm gonna make plays. I promise you that. Like, I'm gonna make plays. I'm gonna find a way to get it done. Like, I've been like that my whole life. I could have ran a faster 40. I've ran faster 40s. I just didn't run my fastest time that day. You know what I mean? Like, I was consistently clocking in at 4.5, anywhere from 4.49 to 4.52, consistently doing training, laser and everything. Just that day wasn't my day. Like, it is what it is. But you're gonna have those days in football. Like, it's gonna be days where, like, I don't have a great game, but I'm gonna bounce back. You know what I mean? And they took that junk and ran with it. And even David tells me to this day, like, bro, the only reason you fell to the sixth round is because you wasn't tall enough, because you wasn't tall enough. You didn't run super fast at the combine. So teams was just like, oh, we don't know where to play him. Same old thing with Texas. Like, we don't know where to play him. We don't know if he can play outside corner. We don't know if he can play nickel in the league, because those guys are quick in the slot. And we never seen them play safety. So it's just like the same thing. It's the repeating thing. You know what I mean? So for me, I told people that from interviews. I remember when Detroit drafted me, I told my DB coach, like, hey, I'm telling you, coach, I'm gonna make everybody pay. I promise you. I could call him on this podcast right now and be like, Tio, what did I tell you? And he was like, hey man, just calm down. Like, be excited that you're getting drafted. I'm like, I am, but y'all got me effed up. Y'all think it's this many people better than me. And I remember talking to the reporters after that and telling them, like, hey, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest. I was like, but I'm a football player. So watch this. And shoot, the rest is history. I'm 7 years, going on 7 years in.
And just as a human being, does it get old constantly being poked and prodded and measured? Like you keep breaking me down into numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a numbers guy with everything else. But like, you telling me, oh, I can't play this position at a high level because I'm 5'9", or I can't play in the league because I ran a 4.56 and this guy ran a 4.52. Is it really that much of a difference, bro? Like, come on, like, let's be real here. You know what I mean? And you see it. You see myself. You see the Tyrann Matthews. You see the Buda Bakers. You see these guys constantly overcome all these height deals where guys saying they're not big enough, they're not fast enough. And it's just like, bro, we make plays. Like, we are playmakers. So, like, you can't justify our height and say we're not making plays, because we make plays. Like, you mean to tell me uh Tyron Tyron's been one of the best players, best football players I've ever seen. And you tell me, oh, he's not tall enough, like, he's not big enough. We don't know if we're gonna play him. Come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
he got best DB film in the last 20 years. Besides Charles Woodson, which was 97, he has the best DB film in the last 20 years. So you mean to tell me, I mean, always, you know what I mean? He's 5'9". He's not going to get in the league. Like, come on, it don't make sense to me.
But if you're smart, it makes up for all of it, man. Like if he's running faster than you, that's great, but you can still beat him to the spot. We often don't factor the mind into the game and think it's just a body running around out there.
It got to be, bro. For me, the game is so much more intellectual for me. It's more mental than physical for me. Like, I can run fast downhill, and I guarantee you, I tell people this all the time. It's nobody in the NFL run the alley like I run the alley, and I guarantee you, it's a bunch of 4.3, 4.4 safeties. But I guarantee they don't get to point A to point B faster than me, because I know what's going on before the play. And a lot of that is God given. It's God given, and a lot of that is me watching film and knowing people's tendencies. But like, you get a lot of those guys that have all those physical abilities. They don't know how to watch film. And they don't know ball. So, you know what I mean? Talk to me, talk football with me, and I guarantee you, I put them guys to sleep, because I know I've watched ball, I played ball my whole life, Everything for me is ball, ball, ball. So come on, bro. I guarantee you, nobody is talking ball like me in the NFL. Like, I mean, it's a few guys. It's a few guys, and it's guys that I know and guys that respect me, and I have hella respect for them.
For sure. And you get to learn from a lot of smart players. So you get drafted in the 6th round to Detroit in 2015. You use that low pick as motivation to go out and get to work. You show up in Detroit and you're competing year 1 for nickel. So how does the Detroit story play out for you?
Detroit. I mean, Detroit was a blessing to me. Probably the best thing that happened to me was be drafted to Detroit. Because when I got drafted to Detroit, first of all, had the utmost respect for Jim Caldwell, one of the best coaches I've ever had. Um, Great dude, great coach. Then he surrounded himself by other great coaches. So had Terrell Austin, that D coordinator, had Tony Oden, that corner coach. I had Alan Williams as my safety coach. And those guys, stand-up guys, family men, taught me it's more than just football. You know what I mean? You got to go home and put the football stuff aside and be a man, take care of your family and things like that. And then my room was full of vets, like full of vets, man. I had Rasheem Mathis, 14-year vet. I had James Hedebo, he was year 9. Had Josh Wilson, he was year 9. I had Glover Quinn, he was like year 7 at that time. Had Slay was like year 3 or 4. Issa was like year 5 or 6. So I had all these vets that like taught me the game. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, this is how the league is. Like, even though I knew because of my brother, but like these guys taught me the game. Like, it was like, all right, hey, Rook, like this is what it is. You know what I mean? It was kind of one of those humbling experiences. Like, hey, I'm the Rook. You the Rook. You gonna listen to what we say? I bet, bro. I ain't trying to press y'all or nothing, but it's crazy because like GQ Global Quinn literally told me my rookie year. He was like, I'm gonna tell you this because I know it. He was like, you gonna be a safety. He was like, bro, just trust me. He was like, I was a nickel when I came in the league. My body type, they moved me to safety. He was like, you are built just like me. He's like, you're a little bit faster than me. He was like, you smart and you tackle. He was like, I guarantee you're gonna be a safety. And that's what happened. And it's just like, it's crazy how it worked out because me, Glover, and Slade talk dang near every day or every other day. Still to this day, Glover's been retired for 2 years. Me and Slade ain't been teammates for a year and a half. But it's just like we talk every other day or every day. It's just like I never would have thought that coming in the league, I would still build friendships like I had in college. You know what I mean? And I think that was the best place for me. You know what I mean? I learned so much ball. I learned who I really was as a player. I learned how most teams in the NFL operate. You know, I learned that, you know, it is different from college where coaches give you the freedom to do things and be a man and you don't have all the rules. And I think that's what taught me how to better myself. And my first year was great. My second year wasn't so great. Didn't have my best year. Tore my pec like week 12 or something like that. And we were like 9-3 or 8-3 or something like that. And I'm just like, dang, bro, I gotta miss the playoffs. Like, dang, that sucked. You know what I mean? But what it did teach me was like resiliency. You know what I mean? That was my first time being hurt and missing a game. And they came in, they drafted 2 corners in the next draft. Like, hey, and they bought in another guy and gave him a $5 million deal. And it was just like, hey, you finna compete. And had to compete my balls off, and I kept my spot. And I mean, played and started at nickel, was graded as like one of the top nickels in the league, and then got moved to safety and balled at safety and got a new extent. Yeah, I got a new deal after that 3rd year, and the rest is kind of history, bro. I mean, when it kind of hurt me when Coach Caldwell left because we bought in Patricia and me and him didn't see eye to eye. And,
Patriot way, man.
Yeah, the Patriot way. And
that ain't the Quandre way, man. I can tell by just talking to you right now.
that's not me. That's not who I am. I don't think I fit well in that type of system. I think I'm a guy that just likes to have fun, work, but not kill himself at work. You know what I mean? I like to have fun and enjoy my time and actually play the game the right way. You know what I mean? So that was cool and ended up getting traded. I mean, me and him didn't see eye to eye, and he felt like I was being the one that's kind of keeping him, holding him back from winning. So, he traded me. I traded to Seattle. Second best thing, third best thing that's happened to me in my career. I would say first is being drafted by Detroit. I would say second is my injury and getting drafted. I mean, getting traded to Detroit. I mean, Seattle is the third best thing that happened to me in my career, and it's just like, bro, it's a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? You go to a place where, I mean, the coaches let you be you. You got Hall of Famers. You got Hall of Famers on your team. You got the best linebacker in the league. Then next to him, you got his best friend, who was one of the best linebackers in the league, KJ Wright. And then you got Russell Wilson. I got one of my closest friends on the other side of the ball, Tyler Lockett. So it was just like a perfect storm. Like I got traded there, and I literally stayed with Tyler for a month and a half before I found a place. It was just like, it's perfect. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to leave. And I mean, it was just, the rest is history, bro. Like I've got there, they put me in middle of the field and like, hey, Rome, go play ball, go make plays, get interceptions and do your thing. You know what I mean? And that's what you ask for as a player. Like they give you the keys to the car and they let me be myself and know that I'm gonna get the job done. I'm gonna work my tail off. I'm gonna come in great shape, and I'm gonna be ready to run and hit and do all those things. So I think this is awesome fit for me. I want to finish my career there for sure.
That's dope, man. It's got to feel good to be in a spot like that for work. And your versatility in the league is crazy. You went from nickel to strong safety to free safety. Like you could have been drafted three separate times. So, how'd that conversation go to switch positions?
I can tackle. I'm like, what else do you need from a safety? I can line guys up and do all that. And God, they was like, well, we never seen you do it. I'm like, well, I know I can do it. Like that's the crazy thing. I always knew I could play safety. It just I never got a chance. When I was coming to Texas, I told them I wanted to play safety. They was like, well, we got Blake Gideon, we got Kenny Vaccaro, we got Christian Scott, we got Nolan Brewster. It's like, okay, you come in and play corner. We got Aaron Williams leaving, we got Shockey Brown leaving, we got Curtis Brown leaving. You come in and play corner and start from day one. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play corner. Like, you know what I mean? I want to get on the field. But I always felt I was a safety in my mind because that's what I played my whole life.
Is safety the position you feel most like yourself?
I feel way more comfortable playing safety. I love nickel, don't get me wrong, but like nickel, you don't get many picks. So for me, it's like I want to get the ball. So you put me at safety, I can go get the ball way more. I remember when I moved to safety, my second week at safety, I got a pick. I told them I'll never go back to nickel. Like I'm never gonna play nickel full time. Like I got to pick at safety in week two of my second game. Nah, I'm staying here.
And of course, you're in the NFL, so your coverage variations are so far ahead of me. But say you guys are running country cover three, which you guys aren't, but how far back are you as the free safety? 15 yards, 20 yards off the ball?
Nah, what I play safety different than a lot of guys. Now, a lot of guys might be at 15 to 17. I'm at 12 yards, feet in. I want to be active in the run game, bro. So like teams running toss, I want to go blow the toss up. I want to be the one. You know what I mean? But it also comes with film study where it's like, all right, like I need to I also need to watch like a lot of film because if I get a bad run read and they do a play action, that could be six. So like I like to challenge myself and play at 12 yards and play from there, flat foot read, and then get my and go. You know what I mean? So I play a little bit different than everybody else.
So you love getting involved in the run game. Are you ever going to be the low safety on cover three sky variations for the Seahawks?
I mean, I do. I mean, this year we'll get a lot more variations where me and Jamal be rotating and moving back and forth like that. But in Detroit, I played strong and free. So I was curl flat player, I was hook player, did a lot of different things in Detroit. Uh, in Seattle, I've been mostly the middle field safety, but uh, disguise purposes and things like that, we're gonna move around. But I mean, I love curl flat too because you can get active in the run game. You go, guys throw short plays and quick game. You go make tackles and get active that way too.
The Seahawks defensive scheme is so much fun to watch as a fan. A lot of the NFL YouTubers I like are constantly talking about the scheme wars between y'all and the 49ers. Y'all just go back and forth giving each other hell, man.
They all run Pete scheme like Seattle. I mean,
Yeah.
San Fran. The Jets would be running it now. Atlanta was running. Vegas would be running it now. Freaking Dallas would be running it now. So, I mean, it's everywhere now.
Yeah, it's one of the most influential schemes in all of football. So now you're all settled in and you're comfortable in Seattle and things are feeling right. I want to see how the process of success can alter things. So you get drafted and you sign your 2 mil contract. And then a couple years later, you get the extension for the big boy money. I'm interested to see how money can change things around you or even your personality. So, what's interesting about you is you've seemed to stay on your path regardless of the success.
It, you know what's weird? And I just told somebody this the other day. I've been living the same lifestyle since I was like 14 years old. You know what I mean? When my brother been in the league, I've been living the same lifestyle, bro. Like it's, I've been freaking riding all the best cars. I've been to the nice hotels. I've been able to take vacations. Um, when I turned 18, my brother would take me to Vegas with him and take me to LA. And so, like, I've lived the NFL lifestyle, I would say. I will say, coming out, getting drafted, and my signing bonus was like 150,000. After that, it was like 75, 80K. So it wasn't like I had a hell of money. They could have cut my ass and I'd have been broke the next year. You know what I mean? Like, but when I signed my extension, I think that was just for me. It was one of those things like, okay, bro, like you really you earned this. You know what I mean? You did this on your own. Your brother didn't give you this. You know what I mean? You didn't get this from being Quentin Jammer's little brother. You got this because you made plays and they believed in you. So for me, I think it was more of like a satisfaction thing for me. It wasn't more of like I made it. It was like, dang, that satisfaction of like knowing that for the people that say, oh, he only made it because his brother. You know what I mean? It was kind of that type of thing for me. So I never change up who I am, bro. I'm a small town kid. My Out of my 5 best friends, 3 of them are from Angleton. 2 of them are my college roommates. Like I never switch up who I am. You know what I mean? My girlfriend, we've been together since my senior year in college. Like my mom, my dad, my brother, like those are the people I confide to. I mean, this year was the hardest year for me. Pro Bowl year or not, it was the hardest year for me. It was just like I wasn't able to see my mom and dad, my brother, my nephews because of COVID. So my grandma, you know what I mean? So like that's who I am at heart. I'm a family person. I could care less about the money and all the other stuff. Like I care about my family's happiness and having the money that helps bring happiness to my family. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I never switch up who I am. I'm gonna be this guy every day. I'm gonna crack jokes on Twitter. I'm gonna antagonize everybody, and I'm gonna work my tail off to be the best player and best person and best father I could be.
Yeah, you're a unique guy just regardless of the NFL stuff. And I have a lot of fun watching your game because of your intelligence on the field. Plus, I love it when you come down and pop tight ends. It's like you take that personally, man, that they'd even send a tight end at you.
It's fun, and it gotta be calculated though. You know what I mean? Like everything I do is calculated. I'm not just going. I don't try to blast everybody. You know what I mean? It gotta be perfect timing for me. And I played long enough where I know where it's like, okay, this is a tackle. I just need to wrap up and get him down. Or it's like this is a play where I can smack him. Like, you know what I mean? So, I mean that comes with time and playing the game for a while.
After those tough games, is your body hurting? Are players just in like a constant state of pain, or do you learn to take care of your body over time in the league?
I wouldn't say pain. I mean, I think a lot of that gets blown out of proportion. Maybe the bigger guys hitting every play, but like myself, I'm more sore from running and moving, shoulders sore from tackling, but like wouldn't say pain. You know what I mean? I don't really feel like myself until Thursday or Friday, but that's only because I'm running a lot. You know what I mean? I'm moving around, I'm hitting people, but like it's not constant pain. I've learned that to take care of my body. I mean, since I got to Seattle, like being around Bobby and KJ and DK and, being around those guys, like we've got a group now where after games, like after road games, we don't get right in our car and leave. We go inside, we go cold, we go contrast, we go hot tub, cold tub, get the information, try to get the information out, and then we go home. You know what I mean? So like I've gotten there, I've got around Hall of Famers. I mean, I've got around future Hall of Famers and DK because I think he's gonna be that guy.
10-3-9, man.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. And he works his tail off, so it's not surprising for me. But I mean, I've learned so much on how to take care of my body with massages and needling, and having my own doctor for my ankle and things like that. So it's been dope. Just my growing up, just since being in Seattle. I mean, having a father has definitely changed me too because um, I've learned that when I come home, it's all about my daughter now. I got to put football aside until she's asleep. And me and my girlfriend, we hang out, we watch TV, and then it's film. You know what I mean? So I've gotten a schedule, I've gotten a routine, and I'm excited where it's gonna go.
Work-life balance is hard, man. Even with my videos, like staying up till 4 and making them, I've had to work on that with my loved ones as well. So you gotta have balance, man.
Have a balance, bro, and I've learned that. I mean, um, since last year was the first time, well, not the first time, the second time that my girl has moved in with me during the season. Of course, we have our daughter because she would usually stay in Texas and just fly back and forth every week because during the week I wanted my time to be able to lock in, and she was working. But I mean, I've learned to find that balance, and I think last year, as hard as it was the best year for me at home. You know what I mean? Able to be around my girlfriend, be around my daughter, and just enjoy them. You know what I mean? And not having my mom and dad being able to come up to game, that was my crutch for me to go home and be there with them. And it was just that balance of like, okay, I played the game. Let's go. Let's just watch TV, babe. Let's watch TV tonight and then get into bed. Like, I think that's what I've learned. And I think that's what I adore about having my daughter and my girlfriend up with me during the season.
Awesome. That's good to hear, man. And it seems like you're in a good place. But I'll be damned if I let you leave without talking about our new defensive scheme. So you're a Pro Bowl free safety on the most famous cover three defense, and our new defensive coordinator runs a cover three defense. So where should we be expecting the corners to line up and the free safety? Are corners going to be press? Are they going to be bailing or press bailing? So what should we expect to see this year from our new defensive coverage?
I would say as a post safety, legit would be 15 yards deep. I mean, I think 15 to 16 yards, that's where it'd be. Control the middle of the field, and seams and posts should be handled by the middle safety. You know what I mean? Nobody should be able to throw a post or a seam ball in cover three because those are handled by safeties. Uh, I will say it's nothing wrong with corners press bailing. That's a part of cover three. I mean, press bailing, cover three, you give a press look and you bail and you stay on top of fade ball. That's what this defense is designed to do. It's designed to take away the explosive play. So, okay, you might catch a 5 yard hitch, you might get 8 yards, cool, but you're not gonna throw that every game. You're not gonna throw that every play. We predicating on you getting greedy and trying to throw a goal ball or a post, and we intercepting and taking a turnover. So it's a bend, don't break defense. Now, what that does is that put pressure on those curl flat players, on those hook droppers. To they throw the ball 5 yards, you got to rally and you got to get that thing down and make it a 5 yard gain. But it also puts pressure on your hook player because they got the deep over routes. So they got to be able to wheel and look up those over routes off of play action and get to where those quarterbacks want to throw the ball when they throw those over routes. So, but what it really needs in this defense is predicated on the pass rush. So you want to be able to rush forward and get pressure. You don't want to have to rush five because then you leave one of those, you missing the curl flat player or you missing the hook player. So it's predicated on the pass rush. So those big boys got to get dirty and get down there and rush the passer and get sacks and pressure the quarterback. And that's how you get tips and overthrows. And that's how you go, the quarterback, he holds it, strip sack. You know what I mean? So when they can't get those deep shots, and that's what the cover 3 defense is designed to do, is take away those deep balls, take away the seams in post, and make you check the ball down and have a 15-play drive. Because most teams not going to do that. Most teams not going to throw a hitch. Oh, we got 5 yards. Throw a hitch, first down. We can do this the whole series. Nobody wants to do that. The game is exciting. It's fun. So they want to throw deep balls. They want to throw posts. They want to throw double moves. They want to throw overroutes. They want to throw seams. You know what I mean? So that's the defense design.
I love that it allows our players to keep their eyes on the quarterback as well, man. And cover 3 is also good at generating picks. You roll down a safety like Robber. You can do cool stuff with Cloud, do the weak side, and you can get picks with it. I'm excited to see it this year. Last year was Chris Ash. He ran match quarters, which is a 4-deep defender defense opposed to a 3-deep defense for the fans. And he did a good job too.
That wasn't bad. I mean, it's just more, it's got a lot of different interests that you gotta deal with. You gotta know when you play quarters, bro, everybody has to be on the same page, because one guy might see something one way and the other guy might see it the other, and boom, big play.
Any guys you're excited to watch in the secondary at Texas this year? Guys you want to see in the league?
I'm eager to see Deshaun and Josh take that next step. You know what I mean? They had a great spring, and I'm ready to see if they're going to take the next step and go make it happen. You know what I mean? Because they could be the next big-time DBs. And, of course, I'm always excited to see how BJ is going to play. He's a hometown kid. I've known him since he was like 6 years old. And I just wanted to put it all together this year. You know what I mean? He had a great freshman year, went through some injuries his sophomore year. Junior year, he rebounded a little bit better. But now it's his time. I mean, you're a senior now. You got to go put it out on the line. You got all the physical skills that they're looking for, so just go put it on the table.
For sure, man. Looking forward to all the guys taking the next step and reaching their full potential there. So when do you guys go back to work?
We go back to mini camp, 14th through 17th, then we off for another month or so, and then we report July 27th.
Man, thank you so much for giving me an hour and a half of your day. Thank you to the Inside Texas crew for setting this whole thing up. And Quandre, I really appreciate it, man.
No doubt. Appreciate you having me. And we'll all be looking this year to see how the guys handle up this year. And I think we're excited for a new change. So appreciate you guys again. You guys keep me well aware of what's going on around the building with the website and everything. So appreciate that.
All right, that's a wrap for Quandre Diggs. Special thanks once again to Inside Texas. Make sure you go pick up your own subscription. It's an awesome service. Go watch some more of my videos here, and please share on social. As always, hook 'em.